What's going on, guys? Thank you for checking out this episode. I hope you had a great Christmas break and you guys are ready for the new year. Today's episode is all about dealing with loss.
Do you have goals you want to achieve in life? Or a vision you want to turn into reality? It's not going to happen overnight. It's part of a process. And any process takes time. But what's involved in that process? It's what you'll find out. Welcome to Achieve the Goal, the web series.
So we all go through different seasons in life. Some are good, some are bad. And I travel across the country and speak to thousands of students about some of the seasons that I went through and some of the challenges that I've been faced with. Now in life, we're gonna experience loss. It's just part of it. Everything has a shelf life. Everything has a beginning and an ending, whether we like it or not. I've been through a lot in my life. My grandfather, he's one of those people that always believed in me, no matter what. He was like that person that said, Devin, you could do or be whatever you want to be. So how many of you guys watching have that person that always believed in you? No matter how ugly you are, they love you. And now that's me and my grandfather. And I was an ugly baby. Now me and my grandfather were really close. That was like one of my best friends. I could talk to my grandfather about anything. And he actually let us set up our first business in his garage when I was living with him at the time. We turned the garage in my room into our airbrushing studio. We started airbrushing, and I remember my grandfather was always excited to see our projects and what we were working on. And after about 2 years of airbrushing, we actually started to gain some traction. We started to work on some bigger projects, and we started to work with bigger name clients. Now, this one project in particular, this guy contacted us through Craigslist, and he had a project for us. He wanted to do a custom guitar for one of Led Zeppelin's road managers. Now, this was like a week-long project. We were working on this night and day, grinding it out. And my grandfather was super excited to see how it was gonna come out. So literally the day before we had to deliver it, we're pulling an all-nighter. We're gonna have to finish it. We're running past our deadline. We're late. My business partners are in the garage airbrushing the guitar. I'm in the dining room cutting out these stencils for the next piece of the guitar that was getting ready to get airbrushed. And my grandfather was in the front room sitting in his favorite chair. And I'll never forget, it was about 12 o'clock. And I told my grandfather, I said, look, I know the compressor out there is kind of loud. I know we're making some noise. If you want us to finish up in the morning, we could stop and we could finish up. And he kind of chuckled and he was like, you know what, if the noise isn't bothering me, I want to see you guys finish this. If anything, I'll just get up and I'll go in my room in the back. So I'm like, all right, cool. So he got up, he went into the back room. I'm cutting out these pieces and I stopped. And I go into the garage and I tell my business partners, I'm like, look, man, my grandpa's a G, man. I'm like, he really, really believes in us and he really wants to see us succeed. I told him what he said and I was like, man, I don't know what I would do without him. And so after I said that, I go back into the dining room and I'm cutting out these pieces and I hear my grandfather in the bathroom kind of open the door and walk down the hallway. And I'm cutting out the pieces, not really paying attention to it, and I kind of hear him walking down the hallway, leaning against the wall. All of a sudden, I heard this loud crash. And so I got up to go see what it was, and I walked over into the hallway, and my grandfather had fell over on the table and knocked one of the lamps off the table. And so at this time, I rushed to him. I didn't really know what was happening. I got on the ground and I was asking him, Grandpa, what's wrong? What's wrong? And he said, nothing, just help me up. And so I literally had to pull him and bring him into the front room. And I remember at that time I went and ran into the garage and I told my business partners to call 911. Something was happening to my grandpa, I didn't know. And so I remember I rushed back and I'm on the ground with him. He's kind of rolling around, grabbing his chest and I'm trying to calm him down. I'm like, Grandpa's gonna be okay. I got trying to call my dad on one phone and he was rushing down to the house asking what was wrong. I said, I don't know, just get here. I have the ambulance on the other phone just asking me a whole bunch of questions, and I'm trying to calm my grandfather down. It was just a hectic moment. And I was like, Grandpa, it's okay. You know, the ambulance is on its way. You know, relax. And I was on the ground with him, and I'll never forget, he started coughing and kind of rolling around, grabbing his chest. So I'm thinking he's choking. And it got to a point where he made this noise that I'll never forget. And after he made this coughing noise, he literally like stopped moving. And at this point, I realized my hero, the person I looked up to, the person that believed in me enough to let us set up in his garage and in his personal space to start our business, I literally died in my arms. Now, this was a crazy experience. I've never experienced anything like this. I never had anybody that close to me pass away, let alone pass away in front of me in my arms. And I don't know if some of you out there are watching have gone through something like that. And if you have, you know where it put me. It sent me into this dark place. Like, I was depressed. Like, I didn't want to do anything. You know, all the excitement of airbrushing, all the excitement of starting our company, everything went away. And you know what's so crazy is that a month after that, my grandmother on my mother's side passed away. My girlfriend at the time moved away to go to school. My mother was sick, living about an hour and a half away from me. And I was just in this space, and I was alone. Like, I had family and friends there and a support system, but I felt that everything that I knew was taken away from me. And like I said, I lost my inspiration. I stopped airbrushing. I ended up working a 9-to-5 job that I really didn't like. But I'm like, what else is there to do? You know, I was just in this deep, dark place where I just didn't really want to do anything. Like, it got to a point where I didn't care if I woke up. Like, I literally had those thoughts. Like, why should I wake up? I had this depressive thought that everybody that I love, I'm gonna have to see die, and I'm gonna lose them, or they're gonna see me die. And I just had this just this negative mindset. We started working at this job, and it wasn't something that we wanted to do. You know, it paid good, but it wasn't our passion. It wasn't something that we wanted to pursue, or we didn't see ourselves doing it long term. And I remember every day that we got to this job, he would tell me, we got to do something different, man. This is not us. And I'm like, dude, I just lost my hero. Like, I'm not trying to hear any of that. Like, I really internalized this pain. Like, I really didn't know how to express it. I really didn't know how to share it with anybody, because it felt that the people that I was talking to, they didn't experience anything like that. So how can they relate to what I was going through? And so I felt like I was just in this world alone, and I had nobody to talk to. After about 6 months, we're working at this job. I'm hating every minute of it. It paid good, but at the end of the day, it was like I was working to get this paycheck, and then I'll get the paycheck, and then on the weekends I would go spend it all because I wanted to live it up, because I wasn't having any fun, or I didn't have any inspiration during the week. I was so depressed during the week at this job that I hated and all the stuff that I was going through, that I was wasting my money on the weekend to make me feel okay. So I was suppressing my emotions and my feelings. My business partner almost every single day kept telling me, we got to do something different. This is not us. And so one day I was like, okay, what do you suggest that we do? So he said, hey, look, we always wanted to start a clothing company. There's this class at one of the community colleges, they offer screen printing. At the time, we didn't know what it was, but he said, look, we can start a screen printing company. Everybody has t-shirts that are screen printed. And then what we can do is we could experiment on other people's stuff and then invest the money into our own brand. And so all this negativity, all this emotion, all this depression was just hitting me, and was like, look, you can't do this. Like, all the thoughts in my head were like, why would you even try? At the end of the day, you're gonna lose everything, so why even try? And it was like this, just any and everything negative was just hitting me all at once. I told him, I'll think about it. at this point, I'm just like, it's just no point. It's why even try? I'm just super just in this dark place. But then I had to stop and really think about it. And I thought about my grandfather. I thought about the conversations that we had. I thought about the investment that he made in me and just taking his time to talk to me about wisdom and about, you know, following my dreams and being able to do whatever it is that I want to do. And so I thought, I'm like, man, if he was here, what would he tell me to do? Would he want me to sit here and be depressed and sit here and work this job that I hate and be sad about him not being here? Or would he want me to really pursue what I wanted out of life? I really had to find out what I wanted to do. And you know what was crazy is that about 2 weeks after my best friend pitched that idea to me, we're driving to work and we're literally like, he's driving and we're pulling into the parking lot at work. And I told him, you know what? Let's go sign up for that class. And he was like, hey, don't play with me. Like, I'll turn this car around. I'm like, let's go sign up for the class. So we literally like pulled out of the parking lot and went to the school and signed up for that class. We didn't tell our managers or anything. That honestly was one of the best days of my life. Cause I went from this deep, dark, depressed state, lost all my inspiration, to actually having hope again. A lot of times when people deal with loss, there's two ways that we can go. We could go in a destructive way, drinking, partying, trying to suppress the feelings that we have. Or we could go in a constructive way. We could utilize that pain and put it in a positive outlet, whether that's in some sort of creativity or that's in some sort of, you know, self-improvement, whatever that case may be. And so I decided, instead of being in this destructive, depressive state, why don't I take that energy, that same pain and that same energy, but redirect it in something constructive? That's what I did. You know, I thought about it. I'm like, man, what would my grandfather want me to do? And I think that the big thing is just understanding that we don't have a lot of time here. Our time on earth is limited. We got to make it count. And I think that being able to use situations like that, it puts things in perspective. I mean, I know it did for me. It just showed me that, look, at the end of the day, what are you scared of? And so that's what I had to use. Every time that, when I started speaking, before I got on stage, I was so nervous. But I said, if I dealt with that sort of situation of dealing with my hero dying in my arms, this is easy. Now, I know some of you might not have went through anything like that. I know this is an extreme case. Some of you guys might have went through something like that, or some of you might not have went through anything that intense. But I know everybody experiences the emotion of loss, whether that's the loss of money, whether that's loss of a house, a business, a job, a relationship, whatever the case may be. It's that same type of emotion. And the thing is, we could live in the past and worry about what we lost, or we could appreciate the good times that we had, smile that it happened. Yeah, it's over, but there's chapters in our life. Sometimes people and things are in our life for seasons, and it's to get us to the next step or the next chapter, the next phase of our life. So when you have those situations that you deal with loss, embrace it, enjoy it. I know that sounds crazy, but I can honestly say that I would not be here today if it wasn't through that experience. So find out what it is for you and just change your perspective on it. Just look at it like this is an opportunity and a situation for you to grow. And like they say, no pain, no gain. So you gotta go through pain in order to get to the next level. I hope this was helpful. We're gonna be trying different things going into 2016 with Achieve the Goal. We're gonna have some special guests. We have some amazing people that we're gonna be interviewing on the show about how they dealt with certain challenges, whether that's loss or dealt with rejection, and how they have overcome that and turned it into something positive and constructive. So we're super, super, super excited about that. Now, I appreciate all your guys' feedback, comments, shares, posts, likes. It truly, truly, truly do appreciate it. If there's any topics that you guys want to hear about, or anything that you want to see on these webisodes, please leave it in the comment or send us a message and let us know. 2016 is going to be a great year. I feel it. We have a lot of things planned, and I just appreciate your guys' attention and watching this video. If you found this helpful in any way, please share it with your friends or your family, or tag somebody that needs to hear this. Maybe somebody is dealing with loss or going through a situation right now that need to hear this. And like I always say, to get something you never had, you must do something you never done. Peace.